Today was a really hot day at the market. The markets were really choppy. It was just moving up and down, like in the positive and the negative. And it was really hard to decide, like, is this the bottom or is there more in store in terms of the market? So let's look at the market today and see how it performed. And this is our agenda for today. So we'll first look at the top news stories, see what really happened, what's Russia and Ukraine up to. We'll also look at the S&P 500 and analyze it technically. We'll then look at the Nasdaq 100, the Dow 30, the Russell 2000, and it's just on a daily update, give you an overview of how that performed. We'll then look at the crude oil, crypto, and gold daily updates. So just look at the charts and see how that they've performed so far, just for today. We'll then look at the top trending stocks. So this is really valuable if you like to know more about what to invest and what not to. So we'll first start off with the daily gainers and losers. Look at the high volume stocks. We'll also look at the top stocks now available at a discount. So that's something new that I've come out with. And also look at the top stocks making new 52-week highs and lows. So these are like the top gainers and the top losers, but an all-time high and an all-time low. And then we look at the upcoming earnings for this week and also what's just coming up tomorrow. So with that, let's get started. And we've got a lot to cover in this video. So coming up. So the major reason why the market's so volatile or moody right now is because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And there's so many mixed opinions on what's happening out there. And there's there's one news article that says that Russia's ready to attack. The second says that, they're going to step away. And that's kind of creating a lot of like uneasiness in the market. And the market doesn't know what it should do. Should it go ahead and buy? Should it go ahead and like just wait it out? So a lot of like uneasy investors right now are not sure what to do in this craziness, and that's what's causing a lot of volatility. So there's a lot of different articles coming out on what's in store, but just on the fundamentals, this is the major issue that's like troubling the market right now. So let's look at the S&P 500 and look at some of the technicals and see, do the technicals also meet expectations as the fundamentals are right now? So this is the S&P 500 futures, and I have it on the daily time frame right now. And as you can see, yes, we have gone below the 200 period moving average line. And for a lot of the traders, this is the holy grail in trading, and that defines if this is a bull market or a bear market. And from what it looks like right now, it is moving into bear territory. So you'll see a lot of news articles talking about the market's into a bear territory, you should start short selling, and this is the end of the world, and there's nothing more better that could happen right now. So there's a lot of speculation, like what's in store, what does this mean for the market and also the market participants. And a lot of you may have stocks just sitting down and it's losing money day by day. So this is important information for you because you need to decide, is this a good time to get rid of your your portfolio and start short selling, or is this a time just to wait and sit on the side and not buy right now because the market is available at a very cheap discount price. Now, is this the best value you could get it at? Or is this going to go fall further and you just keep short averaging your positions? So looking at it technically, and this is the 200 is the blue line that you see on your screen. What you see is that it's gone to the previous low, which was around the 26th of Jan. So now it is almost at a 1 month low. Now, what it doesn't tell you, and this is on the daily time frame, is the weekly time frame. And in the weekly time frame, as you can see, the market has a good, strong 50 period moving average line. And I've been mentioning this in some of my previous videos too, is that the 50 period moving average line is really important for the market to predict the trends. And now what this would do is, if there is a fundamental news of the Russia-Ukraine crisis and it's negative and it means that it's going to fall down, meaning the news is so drastic and it will kind of have such a negative impact, it can then trigger the market to move significantly downwards, and it would cause a lot of chaos and panic, and a lot of people would start selling their entire portfolios. Now, if the market gives you some positive news in the coming week, and this week is very important for being a direction move for the market because it's so close to the 50 period moving average line. So if the market, and this is just Tuesday, so we've got a few more days for the market to react. As you can tell here, like in the previous candle, the market did go plummet all the way down to the 4,200 levels, but it then resurrected itself and went back up in the positive territory. So that's expected too. So do not pay close attention to this small doji that you're seeing here. This is not a doji. Like, wait until the close to Friday to give you a better picture of where the market's heading. So right now it's just like, the market's indecisive, and it's gone up, it's gone down, and it's this flat line right now. And it's still like, this is aftermarket, but it still shows you it's still like trying to move up and down. It's not sure of its direction. But if it holds strong on this 50 period moving average line, you will see the market trend upwards. So that's what we are hoping. But do not worry if the market starts to decline, because if it starts to move downwards, that's when you should get your short selling trades ready. So you got to pick the stocks that are the weakest, and we'll talk about that very soon, and get ready to short sell those stocks, because that's where you will help balance your portfolio in case if you're like long so many stocks that you've had for a very long period of time. So that'll help you like balance out the losses and also get some gains by shorting the market as well. Okay, so that's just an update on the S&P 500. Now let's quickly move into the Nasdaq and the other indexes and see how they performed. Now this is the good old Nasdaq futures and the good old technology index, and it's been plummeting like since I've last spoken about it for the last few months, and it is still plummeting. And like today was like, after market, yes, it did resurrect itself a little, but it's close to, or it's actually gone below the last low of the day, and it's been going down lower since then. So Nasdaq too, like for the day, it's now in the positive, but it was down for like the entire duration of the day today as well. So nothing really to talk about, but a lot of declines for the Nasdaq, especially a lot of the technology sector stocks as well. This is the Russell futures on the weekly time frame. Let's quickly look at the daily time frame to see how that's performed. So the Russell futures choose exactly the same. It's gone down, closed around 1979 for the day, and now it's heading a little higher. But do not get fooled by the small rise, because it's still flatline. It hasn't fallen as much as the Nasdaq, but it's still like in the decline as well, just like the other indexes as well. This is the Dow Jones, and this is the Dow Jones on the daily time frame, and it has closed at 33,531, and it did make the low it has even broken the previous low from 26 Jan. Now again, these are just iterations of the S&P 500, and it's got a different mix of shares in there, but yes, it is on a downward decline. The momentum that is heading downwards is also higher, which is also a bad sign. But let's keep an eye on the S&P 500 and see how that's performing for a long-term view, and how the stocks are performing. Now this is the Bitcoin futures, and the Bitcoin futures again went down for another day in a row. I think this is like the first, second, third, and this was a big drop today to the 37,000 level. And remember, in the previous videos that I did talk about, is it is generally tending to hover around 35,000 to the 44,000. And now it seems to be in the decline towards the 35,000 mark. So not a good news for the Bitcoin traders, because there is a high tendency that you would possibly lose money, at least in the short term, until the markets start to rise again from there. This is the gold futures on the daily time frame, and the gold's doing pretty well. It did rise up to its near all-time high of 50,673. Which is amazing. Gold's always the opposite of these stocks. So yeah, gold's gone up, and now it did close lower for the end of the day, but it is still trending in the high range that it could ever be in the past few months. So that's good news for the gold. Let's look at oil now and see how that's performed. Oil's been pretty flat today at the 91.71 mark, but it has gone up significantly since the last drop to 89 let's look at the weekly chart just because, like, oil's been one of the strong energy sector commodities that has been growing a lot. So as you can see here, it did decline for the previous week, but now it seems to be, I would say, still early in the days to really decide which direction it's going to go in. But I do feel that there could possibly be a chance that oil may start declining a little bit, just so that it keeps in line with the moving averages, or it may just consolidate for maybe another week or so before heading higher again. So like, time will tell, but that seems to be the direction that oil's heading in for now. Now let's look at the top gainers for today, and one of the first gainers that comes to my list is MDT, which stands for Medtronics, or it's Medtronics. So MDT rose today for 3.12%, and like, if this is something that I would think about buying right now, it still seems to be on a decline. I'm just going to go into the weekly just to get a better perspective, and it is on its all-time low, at least for the recent in the recent decline. It's also below the 200 period moving average on the weekly time frame. So it's not one of the best that I would look at, but yeah, the earnings today, it did surpass the earnings, which is really good, and it's also doing well in terms of its financials and fundamental analysis too. So really good numbers in store, but in terms of like buying it right now, technically speaking, I would say wait until, like, it does show like an upward trend. It's right now really low, below the 200 period moving average, so nothing really to like talk more about, but yeah, it's done well like financially in its quarterly earnings. The next one that did fairly well today was AMD. Now AMD was not just one of the top gainers, but just a 1.6% increase, but it also had the highest volume for the day. So let's look at the news and see what really caused this increase and high volume in AMD. So after doing some digging to find out what exactly caused this rise in volume, one of the reasons is the key chip ingredients at risk in Ukraine conflict, and that seems to be one of the major sources of its raw materials to produce the semiconductors, and that's what seems to be causing like the high volume and also a demand in AMD right now. Now, in terms of the technicals, let's see if this is a good time to buy. So in terms of the technicals, AMD is around the 50 period moving average line, which really is a good time to buy it at. The reason I say that is if I go back in the past and I'll show you why I am so bullish about AMD, is that AMD rarely ever touches the 50 period moving average line. So right now it does seem to be at a good discount price. And not only that, but it also has, it has risen a lot. It has declined, and it's closer to the September of 2021 range. So yeah, anything close to the 50 period moving average line would be a good buy for now. Maybe start small and keep your stop loss around the 50 period moving average line, so that just in case if it falls below, you can sell it off as well. So now let's look at the top losers for the day, and it's just a sea of red. AMD, as I pointed out before, was at 1.6% of a gain, but Tesla was at -4%, and Tesla's been doing bad for like last few weeks now. Home Depot as well is at -8% of a low for the day. Lowe's was at -3.64%, so it's been really bad in terms of the auto manufacturing sector today. Also the home improvement retail sector. The semiconductors, except for AMD, like everyone else, was also in negative territory. Apple was down -1.78%. MDT was on the positive side at 3.12%. So nothing really like special to talk about. Like G was one that did go up, one of the few rare gainers at 1.57%. But nothing really that caught my eye that I would say, yes, it is really a buyer's market. But saying that, let's look at a few stocks that actually performed or are available at a discount that could be potential buys, just like the one that we talked about for AMD. So let's see what else do we have that we could possibly buy just for like the short term to get some profits in as well. Now, after a lot of digging, I did find a few stocks that really fit my list as potential buys given its low price right now and the availability at a discount price. So the one that comes to my list right now is MGM Growth Properties. And we talk about the fundamentals in a different video, but right now, just looking at the technicals, it is on its all-time low, like in the last, I would say, since November, which is really good because the last time it actually touched the levels was in July 2021. So you're getting it at a really good price, technically speaking. Now, not only that, the last few times that it's touched the 50-period moving average line, it is right now in a very good zone. So as you can see, in the last time it did touch the 50-period, it did go down a little more, but then it bounced back. So I think buying it around this value would be probably a good price to get it at, and then you could keep your stop loss just below that, so you could sell it as soon as it starts trending a little lower too. So maybe your stop loss could be around the 36, or maybe if you want to be more conservative, you could go around the 35. So even though you're losing a little bit, there is probably a little more growth potential in terms of like buying it at a good value and keeping it for a little long duration as well. Now, the next one on my list is Google. And now, we've talked about Google a few times, but this is Google looking at it technically. So Google's touched the 50-period moving average line. It's trying to bounce back, and it's again got beaten down. Now, keep in mind that this huge spike that we've seen here is when its earnings came out, and its earnings were substantially good. Since then, it has corrected and gone back to its mediocre levels on the 50-period moving average line. But I do think that, knowing Google and what it's capable of, buying it close to the 50-period moving average line is a really good good value buy. Just the reason being that it rarely, if ever, touches the 50-period moving average line. So getting it at these values is good. Keep a stop loss just below that, and you should be good. So Google is another recommendation. Again, you do your own homework and find out if this is a good stock for you, but this is just what I feel, something that you could add to your portfolio, at least for the near term, or maybe keep it for a long term and just keep averaging up as it goes higher as well. The next one on my list for a good potential discount buy is Applied Materials. And we know the fundamentals of Applied Materials. It's a really good company. But looking at the technicals for it today, you can see that it's been hovering around, and this is the weekly time frame, it's been hovering around the 50-period moving average line for the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th week now. Now, even though it's been pretty flat, one of the things that catches my eye is the reason that the 50-period moving average is such a good support in this case, and it's been holding its ground for a while. So there could possibly be that once it actually breaks out of this zone, it will head in the upwards direction. So keep an eye on it, see how it performs. I do feel that there is a lot more upward potential in store for it. And it's a good discount value buy if you're interested in this as well. Now, a few companies trading near its all-time 52-week high is PXD, which stands for Pioneer Natural Resource Company. And it's trading at 240 right now. It did go down today significantly, but it is hovering around its all-time high range in comparison to the other companies. And the reasons being that the energy sector is trending higher, and that's what's causing a lot of these companies to trend higher as well. So you could probably do a little more analysis and study the energy sector to see which stocks you should possibly look in or invest in, just for some short-term gains as well. Now, speaking of which, let's look at some few earnings that are coming up this week and which ones we should look at keeping an eye on for this week for potential uptrends or downtrends. So the first earnings we could talk about is Alibaba. Alibaba's earnings are scheduled to be out on the 24th of Feb. Now, the estimate is 2.51, and from the analysis that I've done so far, it's supposed to either meet or be very close to the expected estimate. Now, it is in a downtrend. It's not doing well, and technically speaking, if I look at the weekly or monthly too, it doesn't seem to be in a really healthy place. It's been trending downwards since October 2020. So I would say it's closer to the golden crossover, and this is like the death sign for a lot of these stocks. So where's this heading? I think it's going to head lower towards the 87 $87 mark. So yeah, I think a good a good stock to short. Don't really like look at buying it for these lows because it's going to head lower from now. Another stock that has its earnings due on the 24th is Royal Bank of Canada. And Royal Bank of Canada is a pretty good fundamental stock. It's got good earnings, it's got good profits, good revenue as well, and it's close to the 50 period moving average line. So I think it is definitely a good buy in terms of like buying it at a value, and also like keeping an eye on the earnings. So just make sure that the earnings are good before you get into it. But I think buying it anywhere close to the 50 period moving average line is a good sign of like positive momentum that could be in store for the stock as well. The next company is Lowe's, and Lowe's has its earning again just tomorrow. Now Lowe's is just fallen below the 200 period moving average, so that's a bad sign. That means that there could possibly be more downfall in store for it. So I would stay away from Lowe's for now, like until it hovers back again in the positive territory over the 200 period moving average line. So just stay away for it for now until we get to know more of a clear direction on where the stock's head. The next stock is INTU, which is Intuit. And Intuit is also has its earnings on the 24th, and it's below the 200 period moving average line. So again, not a buy recommendation for me, possibly a short sell recommendation, seeing the trend. If you look in the higher time frames, yes, there's no it's crossed the 50 period moving average and maybe heading towards the 200 period moving average line. Now, something to keep in mind is on the monthly chart, there is some kind of support available on the 471 area. So keep an eye on that. That could possibly save the stock. But a little more downfall is what I expected to have to. So that's it. That's all the updates that I have for you today. So do let me know in your comments, like what sections do you like me to focus on. I'm still tailoring my content to make it the most relevant for you. So, please do provide your feedback on what do you like, what do you do not like, and how can I make this better for you so that you get more value out of it. So do let me know, and I will be glad to change my content in the next coming videos. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a good, successful trading day ahead for you.